Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a tutorial on this spicy, smoky, glittery glam look. So if you'd like to see how I created it, then carry on watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is push up my brow hairs. I'm using a mascara wand that's disposable and it also has brow soap on it. So I'm just going to push all my brow hairs up and outwards. Now I'm going to start drawing in hair strokes through my brows. I'm using the Ronia E4 brush, which I highly recommend for creating your hair strokes, and I'm just using a brow pomade from Maybelline in the color dark brown. Now you want to make sure you reload your brush with product and flatten it out after a few applications, otherwise your lines may come out too dry because you're not using enough product, or if you have too much product it might come out too thick, or if your product's too dry it might come out patchy. So you really want to reload your brush and make sure you flatten and smooth out the product on the back of your hand because you don't want any clumps. Now the lines aren't meant to be perfect, otherwise it may look too fake, so you do want to do a few lighter lines and a few darker lines here and there. It does give the brow a little bit more dimension so it doesn't look too flat. Now I want to go in with the P.Louise Eye Base in the shade 3, and I'm going to blend that across my eyelids using my Ronia F10 brush, which is a really good brush for blending in your eye base. I always talk about it. Now the next product I forgot to show on screen, but this is the P.Louise Blank Canvas Paint. It's a much lighter shade, which is going to make your underbrows pop. Not only is the shade lighter, but it's also a thicker formula, which gives you a more dramatic line. It looks more like a clean cut finish, and it also helps to use a synthetic brush that's very flat and thin as well, so you get like that real sharp line if that's the look you're going for. Then I'm just going to use that same Ronia brush to blend that in. Now I'm going to use my BPerfect Collab palette with Stacey. It's the Carnival XL Pro palette, one of my most favorite palettes for color. I'm going to use Slow Burn and a little bit of Lit mixed together. They're just the orange shades. And I'm using the 225 brush from Zoeva and applying this through my crease. And then we're also going to wing it out on the ends. I always like to map out my shape first, so when I do apply my other colors, I have a shape to follow. So the next shade I'm using is Shuffle, which is a matte mustard yellow color, and my Ronia E14 brush. So I'll be using the color Shuffle as my transition color, and that is pretty much going to blend out the edges of our orange shade, which was the first color we applied. Now we're going back in with our orange colors and blending this back into the crease, re-intensifying it because it would have faded from our Shuffle transition color. Now we do want each color to be, blown out and blended, but we also want each color to pop as well. Now I'm going in with Hall, which is a darker, warmer brown, and using that to deepen my crease and also to wing it out at the ends. This is going to further exaggerate our winged out shape. Then we're going into Intuition, which is a very dark matte brown, and I'm going to apply that to the outer V of my eye shape. Now you always want to take your time when using dark colors. I always say this, but it's really important because it just can mess up the whole look. And you also want to take your time when working with dark colors, just so you don't apply it where you don't want it to be. Now for the eyelid, I'm using the color Splendour, which is a really rich copper shimmer color. I'm going to be using my Ronia E6 brush to apply this, and I love this brush for applying pressed shimmer eyeshadows. It just picks up the product and transfers the product well. Now you may need to blend in your outer corner colors again in case you need to soften the edge of that shimmer you just applied. Now I'm putting the next glitter glue down with my finger, and I'm just going to be applying the Inglot 124 pigment over top for some extra pop. Now this is probably my most loved Inglot pigment, especially for clients. So if you don't own any Inglot ones, this would be a good one to start off with. So now it's time for eyeliner. I'm going to be using my Inglot J-Lo eyeliner, in the color Midnight. And I'm going to be using my Ronia E4 brush, which is really not only good for eyebrows but also eyeliner as well. So That's what I'll be using. Now I always have to have a mirror right up to my eye because my vision is pretty blurry from afar. So you can see I'm like right up in there. Now once I've done my liner, I'm just going to use a wipe to wipe away any eyeshadow fallout, but also to sharpen the edge of my liner. So now I'm just popping on a little more glitter glue because I'm extra and want to apply more sparkles. So this is Drippin Gold from Eyeconic. It's a super chunky gold glitter. I wouldn't say it's comfortable on the eyes, but it reflects, it dazzles, it sparkles, so it's worth it. Now I'm just going to chuck on some mascara and I'm going to apply my eyelashes off camera. So starting on the base, I'm priming with my MAC Strobe cream. This has been my favorite for a long time. It's really good for my dehydrated skin, so I'm just going to massage that into my face. For foundation, I'm using the EX1 Foundation in the color 7. This is a really nice light to medium coverage foundation. I am applying it with a sponge, but if you want more coverage from this foundation, I do recommend using a brush instead, because the sponge does absorb a bit of this foundation, which then ends up giving you a more natural, lighter coverage finish. Moving on to sculpting, I'm going to be using the Sosu Contour Palette. And I'm going to be using that cream shade. It's shade 2. It's a cream contour bronzer type color. First time I actually used it, and I really liked it. It was very creamy, easy to blend out, and had good coverage. Like, it didn't look too patchy. So I just applied that down on my jawline, the leftovers along, my cheekbones, and then the leftovers on my jawline, and then a little bit down the bridge of my nose. For concealer, I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape in the color light medium. I'm going to apply a bit under my eyes and just a little bit on the bridge of my nose. And then we're just going to blend it out with a sponge. So in real life, I don't actually use that much concealer. It's quite a lot. In real life, you don't really need that much. But it does look good on camera, which is why I always do it in videos, film, photo shoots and stuff like that. It just captures the light really well and it just looks like flawless, but in real life I don't apply that much usually. To set that concealer, I'm going to bake using my ACcosmetics powder in the color No Shine, which is more like a translucent. It's one of my favorite powders for my face. So I'm just going to use that sponge, bake under my eyes. You can do your nose and also just anywhere where you get really oily. To bronze up and sculpt my face more, I'm going to go in with my MAC Mineralise powder in the color Dark Tan. We're going to dab this onto the forehead, the outer perimeter, just to, make the forehead look more shrunken. And we're going to chisel out and bronze up our cheekbones, our jawline, and also define the nose a bit more as well. I did go in with some blush. I did forget to show it on camera, but it was pretty much like an orange terracotta color from Zoeva. I just applied that on my cheeks, blended it in with my bronzer, and then I also went in with a lighter color blush. This one's from Makeup Atelier. It was a bit more like a peachy color, so I applied that to my apples of my cheeks. And then now we can wipe away our bake. So I'm just going to press away our loose powder using a powder puff. So that is pretty much most of our base done. So I'm just going to spritz my face with the MAC Fix Plus spray just to kind of settle in that powdered look. Now I'm going to highlight the inner corner of my eyes using a white gold shimmer. It's the highlighter I'll be using for my face, so I just pop that into the inner corner of my eyes. And then I'm also going to use it to highlight my cheeks and also the bridge of my nose. So with highlighters, I always like to build up the intensity. I don't like to put too much on at the one time because it does make it hard to blend. So always just, take your time, apply a little bit of product at a time and just build it up to your liking. Now going back to the eyes, we're going to apply a kohl into our waterline. This is from Hudabeauty. It's like duo ended, one's coal and one's liquid. So we're just going to put that inside the waterline, and then we're going to end up smoking our colors that we use on our eyelid on the lower lash line as well. So we're going to start off with the orange. We're going to smoke that along the lash line, and then we're going to use Shuffle, which was the mustard yellow. We're going to use that to blend the edges of the orange. And then we'll be using the darker browns right up to the lash line where the lashes are, just so it blends it with the black and makes it look a bit more like softer and more blended together. Now to complete the look, we just have to do our lips. I'm using one of my favorite lip liners from MAC in the color Cork. It's a really nice brown, and we're just gonna overline our lips because I like my lips to look bigger. And for lipstick, I used the Fenty one. It's the peach shade. I did like the way it looked, but I did want something a little bit more grungier just to match my eyes. So I went over top with Hudabeauty Staycation, which is more like a greyish beige nude, and it neutralized the peach, and it just worked perfectly with this look, I think. So yeah, this is pretty much the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm just gonna, you know, make this hair look a little bit more presentable. But yeah, if you liked watching the transition from going from this, you know, looking all innocent and pure and natural to looking all glammed up and edgy, then please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and obviously subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you on my next video. Bye.